Welcome to the Global Exclusive Podcast. Today was supposed to be a date night for myself and Dream, but that has been adjusted to a third wheel Muspel.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
Yeah.
We have successfully confined Barrows to horny jail for this week, so he is not here.
This is probably the most...
also,
Yeah, go for it.
Also, Shadow, I don't know how to break this to you, but I know I'm cute, but I'm sorry, I'm just not interested.
So here I was, sitting and editing, because I wasn't a part of this episode. And then I hear Shadow pull this shit. What the fuck, dude? Everyone knows Dream is taken. Everyone knows Dream is taken, and everyone knows by who. Motherfucker.
What?
I'm sorry you had to find out like this.
On the podcast while recording on the record. Well, while we're on the record, Dream, do you have anything to say about all the drama that you're causing on the internet?
I
Yeah,
do not
Dream.
care.
I
Please,
definitely know what
stop.
this is about. Why don't you tell me about it, so that I can continue to know about it?
It's like, damn it, I had this name for way longer. Go away. I'm the original Dream.
Oh, is there some kind of streamer or something that did something?
Yeah. There's a Minecraft YouTuber or streamer slash, and he has a bunch of drama right now, like every day nonstop. So
Okay.
his own fans are trying to cancel him. It's hilarious.
It's getting very old.
I'm sure that Dream is experiencing this every single corner of the internet, everywhere he goes. But
Pretty much.
we needed to address it, the elephant in the room. Otherwise, our podcast might be canceled too. So this stream is different. Anyways,
Yeah, I'm actually decent.
well, the verdict's still out on that.
Well, you're not Barrows, so there's that.
That's a low floor.
But you do hang out with him, so
Yeah.
This is fair.
We have 3 new units today, and each of these 3 units were so boring that the community decided to completely skip these banners.
yeah.
They're all in like a weird spot of being like fine, but not impressive.
I actually haven't even checked the rates. Like, how does it work with the double NVs? Is it 2%
They're
on
both
banner?
1%. Yeah, they're both 1%, which is surprisingly good.
I guess that's not too bad.
Is this the first time that we have a double MV in GL?
Yep, this is our first double envy banner.
Like, we had triple envy with Kingdom Hearts, but they were split into separate banners for that.
Yeah.
I think there was a combined banner, but nobody pulled on that because it was an
I don't-
ass.
Only maybe like the daily one or ticket one.
I
Yeah.
seem
Yeah.
to recall that there
Yeah.
was a combined one. It just didn't have anything special. Like, there were step-ups and, like, bonuses for pulling on the others, so there was no reason to do the generic one.
I think it was a generic
Yeah,
10
that
plus
might be.
1 without any like tokens or anything, so it was just completely fucking
I think
useless.
it might have also been like 0.33% for each of them.
Yeah, it was not good. But luckily we had the individual banners for the units at that
I
time.
can't believe of all the units that Agumi could have chose for a double NV banner, Coral and Diverti was the one where like, all right, this is where we pull the plug.
Well,
Anywhere in between.
Yeah.
Well, here's what they're going to do. They're going to say, look, we tried the thing where we did 2% on banner NV rates and nobody pulled, so clearly people don't want that.
Oh my god.
For JP at least, I think it would. Like, I think I commented at the time when it was released, it was basically like, oh shit, we took too long releasing these guys, we better put the other 3 all on one banner.
Yeah. Maybe we can talk about this when we get to them, but yeah, I have things to say about Coral.
Well, we'll talk about Conch first, because I think she's, I guess, the least interesting of the 3, purely because she's also a 5-star base. But
Yeah, sure.
she is an offensive support with surprisingly decent utility, I think. I say surprising.
Yes.
She feels kind of adjacent to Poppy, like, trades out some of the mitigation stuff for, like, better LB support with her LB damage buff and stuff being AoE instead of single target, and better amps, and the Imperials are, like, easier to use with them
Yeah,
instead of
the
being on
amps
something
are
separate.
still only 15%, and the Imperials are still only 120%. So I think this is
She's
like a
got,
tough sell, because
On her LB, she has 25% amps for water and dark and 30% for lightning.
Oh, okay.
So she does amp pretty well.
Still, I kind of feel like for Dark Visions, people that are pushing for high ranks probably have, like, other better options than this, or at least they will soon once we start to get more amps in GL. So
Yeah, I think she is very, very rarely going to be like the top end option, but she's still a pretty good one and like nice to have around, I guess.
yeah, I just kind of feel like if you're not pushing for the top ranks, then like the small difference she'll make to your damage is not worth it unless you happen to pull her off banner. Like, this is not a unit you're really excited to get, because the people who care about DB are going to pull for somebody better, and the people who don't care about DB
I'm surprised
are
that
not going to pull on this.
Muspel, you haven't mentioned her TMR, which is like literally a budget Zidane STMR. Like, so
Yeah.
budget, it's trash, but, you know.
Like,
Well, it doesn't have the only thing that's important about Zidane's one, which is an LB damage buff.
Mhm.
But like, I guess it could be nice to put on a bonus unit for some of the toothier farming content.
yeah, like, I think this is probably going to be used some in Mod King events or whatever, but
Yeah, that's probably the extent of it, but it's still
yeah,
not.
more
bad
likely
TMR.
raids, I guess, because Mod King events, who cares? You one-shot them anyways. Chronicle battles, maybe.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, it'll be decent for Chronicle battle farming probably if you have like a lot of bonus units.
Yeah, I guess we should mention what it does,
And
which is that
one-shot
it's a song that gives 300% stats to allies for 3 turns, and it also regenerates some MP,
And
but who
then-
cares?
Yeah, 100 per turn.
Yeah.
MP refresh can be surprisingly handy because like you kind of take it for granted these days, but when you suddenly realize you don't have very much, it like causes pretty big problems pretty fast.
Yeah, I don't think that I'm using this materia in any content where
No.
MP depletion
For
is a
this
problem.
specifically,
So
yeah, you're not going to use it to solve your MP problems,
Yeah.
but in general, just talking about
yeah,
MP
MP
refresh.
regen in general is useful. I just think on this item it's not relevant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then her STMR is 170 attack, 1.5x variance. This is great for physical damage dealers. Plus, it has tons of spirit on it. There's just one very, very small problem, which is that it's the fucking harp.
Instrument.
So-
Isn't it technically called an
Yeah.
instrument?
Yeah, I tend to call them harps because that's what
But
the icon is.
the icon is a
Yeah,
harp,
the icon's the harp.
But the like one unit that I can think of this actually be good for is Axter and Cleome,
Huh.
I guess.
because they actually have. I think they even have like a 15% instrument in peril.
Yeah.
fuck?
But yeah, I don't know exactly how it stacks up compared to their own STMR.
Yeah, the
But
problem
it, like,
really with instruments is just that
It's
there's
not
like
inherently bad.
No, that's true.
there's no support for them in terms of materia or anything.
Yeah, but who like? It's pretty rare that you have to resort to like weapon-specific materials these days. I think.
Yeah, but it's also not like this thing has a lot of attack either. Like, if we still
No,
cared about
it's
damage
a
dealer
little low.
bolt, the spirit would be nice. But like, if it had 190 or 200 attack, like I could see, okay, maybe I consider this once in a while. But as it is, like, I'd rather use Furian's STMR or something.
Listen, Misspell, stop being a party pooper and like the harp.
I think yeah, for the very few like TDH physicals that can actually innately equip harps, it is potentially going to be a good choice because the 1.5 variants, but it's niche.
Yeah.
Just- Yeah, I mean, this is one of those things where it's like we're really reaching at the bottom of the barrel to make.
Yeah, I
something
think we've
about
talked
Punch.
about this unit way, way more than they deserve. So,
I mean, she's not a complete wash, which is like cannot be said for that many 5 stars.
Yeah.
These days, so she can have a bit of attention.
yeah, but we talked about her for like, I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes already. So,
We can talk
Uh,
about Diverty instead
moving on.
next.
okay, yeah, I want to talk about Diverty. There's some people that are acting
Okay.
like Diverty is fucking trash, and that, like, I've heard people talking about him like he's the magic tank version of King Bradley as a physical tank, which is completely untrue.
What?
But he's
like-
not even supposed to
Yeah,
be a
that-
magic
that's
tank,
nice.
I think.
No, he is like his base form is a pretty good magic tank, in
Oh,
fact.
is it?
And then
Yeah.
his shift
Yeah,
form is
he's
an Earth Terror.
he's barely
Yeah.
any worse than Beatrix, really.
Was it?
Because
Sorry,
like
was it Diverty or Coral that got buffed in JP after release because they were
Coral.
so bad? Okay, so
Corral.
let's talk about Diverty first. Yeah, you said he's a good magic tank on base form.
Yeah, he's in terms of effective health, he's like somewhere between 10 or to 25% behind. He's like 10% behind FaZe, up to 25% behind Beatrix, less if you're not counting Beatrix's barrier, which she isn't necessarily using every turn. So that's really good. He does AoE 75% magic mitt, but aside from that, he doesn't have a whole lot going for him. Like, he has triple cast, so he can defend like basically half the time if he wants to. just, overall solid magic tank, but everybody just got Beatrix for free. So, like,
Yeah, there isn't, like,
yeah.
it's fine, but it's, like, not that necessary, I
Yeah,
guess.
if you have Beatrix, there's basically no real reason to pull for him. If you're a brand new player, I guess you might re-roll, and, like, obviously you're hoping for Phasey, but if you get Diverty, he's a perfectly good starting magic tank.
So
And if you somehow don't have a magic tank and pull him off banner, great.
Diverty's TMR actually intrigues me in that it's a dual wielding SPR and 25% LB damage. Isn't like how many LB damage SPR items do we actually have? This is probably the only one I can think of.
No, there's another one. You don't remember this? It was Xuan Yu's incredible STMR.
Oh, her fist? Their fist?
No, the materia.
Oh, it was
80%
materia.
spirit when using a fist and like 25% LB damage or something. It was maybe 30%. It was really bad. They didn't even use their LB.
The support for it's coming. Just you wait.
Oh yeah, this is going to be great for NBA
Waterfish.
Citra.
Oh, NBA Citra. Oh, I was thinking of Waterfish, but NBA Citra. Okay.
Sure. I don't even think NBA Citra is actually
isn't.
good.
But she is a spirit-based evoker, LB evoker. So she's literally spirit like
Okay,
Terra.
We'll take it. Now, speaking of Terra, we've got Diverty's Shift form, which is very much an Earth Terra.
Literally.
Did the same thing as Luna Freya with the same shift durations cooldown, same buff strength, and same like base LB mod. The thing is, whereas Luna Freya had those same things, but kind of cribbed her in the way of having crazy stats with her Chronicle Weapon, Diverty kind of goes in the other direction, where he gets kind of screwed over by his base stats and weapon selection,
Yeah.
so he ends up weaker than Terra. The one difference he has is that his LB chains, so he's slightly easier to use with
Yeah, and his Protector's Bayonet frames, right?
Yes.
Which is
which is basically triple cast bolting.
so Diverty is probably going to have some use at some point in Dark Visions, just because like he can magic tank and probably make it so you don't have to gear for a resist or something, and then he switches forms and does some damage and also helps with chain count. Like that's some decent roll compression,
And
but I don't
his
think he's ever going to
field-
be amazing.
His field that he sets is like 25% physical Earth Amp, I think.
I mean,
But there isn't really enough otherwise like AoE Earth Amp buff to stack with it to make like an Earth team super viable.
Earth teams, the only Earth like other user I can think of is probably the Elric brothers that like Earth quite a bit, but even that.
Yeah.
Field,
physical,
right?
please.
Like she's
yeah,
not good
Edo.
right now, but
Yeah, she's a
she
bit
got
outdated.
ability awakenings in JP.
Yeah,
Okay.
true.
Oh,
Magic wise, there's also Dark Fina and Sol. I
speaking
guess.
of EX abilities, well, we can sneak this in because just Gumi kind
Oh,
of fucking
yeah.
sneaked it in.
Oh yeah, I.
They
still
sneaked
got
it in, and we're gonna sneak it into the middle of this too. So
Well, why don't we wait till
okay,
after
fine,
Corral?
fine.
Yeah,
We'll sneak it in
yeah.
at the end.
We have to do more disappointment first. But wait,
Okay.
we first have to talk about Diverty's STMR.
Okay.
It exists. All right, now we can talk about Corel.
No. Okay. His STMR can be good on. Hold on. A whole.
Oh yeah, it can be so
Yeah.
good on all of those LB damage units that use throwing weapons and want magic and spirit.
Yes, exactly.
I guess Ibarra can use throwing weapons, so like she could use this, but
Hey, old 7-star Ace, CG Ace, he could use this.
all right, we're moving on to Corel now.
Oh fuck. Okay, Corel. Yeah, this was unique in JP in that when he when he was released,
He.
they basically had to buff him because nobody pulled for him because he was so bad.
Yeah, I think it's the only time
Well,
that's ever happened,
his,
right?
mo-
Yeah, it's the only time that's
his pre-buff mods were like pathetic.
yeah.
So it's good.
There
that they
is
did
someone
that.
at Alum, and I don't know who it is, and I don't know why, and I don't really want to know why, but they are fucking obsessed with whips, like to a creepy degree. Like we saw it with Bart, and we saw it with Yego, and now we're seeing it with Corel. And it's not just like they try to spread the weapon types around, and every once in a while we get a whip unit. If that were the case, we would see units that used like hammers or axes or maces or whatever. But it's just whips, so you know that there's somebody that has a whip kink at Allen.
I mean, most of these whip units are
There
bad.
hasn't been that.
Oh yeah,
many.
I'm not saying they're good at their job. I'm just saying they are really into whips.
I suspect that someone's at Barrows knows inside, but that's just me. But what about the unit? Did we get the buffed or the unbuffed version?
Yeah.
The buff version,
His base
obviously.
form
But,
exists, but let's talk about the shift form.
it has an 80% full break. His base has an 80% full break, but using it like in tandem with damage is not great because he doesn't have true shift, so his damage would drop off a ton because he'd basically have to spend 2 out of 3 turns in base.
Yeah, the
which
base
is
form,
much
I guess,
weaker.
like
So
it does have
breaks
an
plus damage
87%
doesn't work
defense
that
break,
well
which
for
is
him.
the second highest in the game. So that could be used in Dark Visions, I guess, but that's really the only thing about it that's worth mentioning.
Holy crap!
But yeah, he is not a Dark Visions unit. He is as a once in a blue moon experience, a sustained damage focused chainer instead of like an LP focused finisher like every
Wait,
fucking other
those
damage dealer. So I find this quite. I
I thought those were an
refreshing, to be
extinct breed. So I'm surprised they still make these. So
honest. No, he exists.
I mean,
Yeah.
Coral's such a weird unit. It feels
yeah,
like they didn't even try, which is so weird.
Yeah, he's very much. I think I've heard that in JP he was basically like marketed as this. He's basically like a very simple to use lazy man's unit because he's just like he basically just spams triple cast bolting, varies it up a bit for like attack buffing and stuff. And his sustained damage is actually very
the
solid.
problem is that he's locked to Dark, and he very much wants his own STMR, which is a two-handed whip.
Oh my god, that STMR.
Yeah, he can use something
It works
else,
for
but
him.
it's not as good.
He can use Yigo's STMR,
Yeah.
I guess.
So this is one of those cases, and they did this with Zidane as well, where the Envies each share a vision card. So Zidane and Vivi shared the vision card, which kind of sucked balls for Vivi. And Coral shares a vision card with Diverty, but looking at the vision card itself, it looks like it was made for Coral. But,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it's Corral's
It's
card.
not great, but it's maybe slightly less bad than it looks. Because, well, to get the elephant out of the way, it has 80% whip attack passives, which is useless to anyone other than Coral. Nobody else uses whips.
But the last one...
It does have 110 attack, and it has a passive for FFBE units, which gives 20% attack and 50% LB damage.
Yes.
So that's, like, usable. Because there's a bunch of FFBE units
especially
and
when
LB damages.
and a lot of them cap attack pretty easily as well. So yeah, it can still be.
Honestly,
good on
I
some
think
of them.
most 110 attack cards aren't bad. It's just 110 attack. You don't really care about the passive stats 90% of the time because you can cap those.
You generally want to get, like, a
Not
little
as
bit of
much,
attack out of it, but
It's
like,
low priority.
Yeah. His TM is also fine. It's another demon killer materia, and it's got some resist on it. People are probably going to use the shit out of it in Dark Visions once in a while. But, you know.
And yeah, like trial wise, I guess like physical dark damage isn't exactly something that's favored very strongly. But with like his human kills and stuff, he's very, very competent at like Asura. If you still want to go back
he also
and do that,
hates fish for some reason.
but that's
I'm just looking at the JP update right now, and it looks like he was released on February 10th, and on February 19th, he got an upgrade. So
yeah. It was like the week
quick
after.
fucking turnaround, Alem.
And they just reworked that.
And
Like a
okay,
bunch
so
of mods.
this is going on more of a, I guess, tinfoil hat territory. But because of Coral's massive, like, I guess, failure, the next week after that, they released Hawkeye, and in that, whole collaboration. So, do you think that sort of had like an influence on the sort of power creep that happens afterwards? Like, what I'm trying to say is that up to Coral, when was the last time that in JP that there was a huge power spike? Because I can't think of anything. I think at that point,
The Elrics.
Zidane?
well, in physical
Lunafreya?
damage, and you could say
Elrics were
Zidane, but Zidane was such a clunky. No,
Noctis.
Noctis wasn't as great in JP because he couldn't
The Elrics were a pretty significant power jump, I think.
compared to Laswell.
No, they were. Remember, they
were buffed in GL.
GL as well. They weren't. They were only about as strong as Laskin and JP.
okay.
Yeah, so like what I'm saying is that if we discount Zidane purely because it was so fucking clunky to use, the power creep in JP was very like it wasn't high for physical damage deals. You could say Lunafreya for magic, and before that there was Ferris. So, but after Hawkeye and then
I mean, it depends
Not
on whether you're
this was
talking
still
about
pretty
burst
big.
or sustained. Like,
Yeah.
sustained probably hovered around the same amount. Burst went up a lot with Noctis. Like, even in JP.
Yeah, but his sustain was absolute trash. So there's that.
His sustain would have been about the same as Arden. Well, I guess a little
Yeah.
lower, because Arden still got the reduced cooldown, but it was probably, I don't know, around last gen.
Yeah, because their jumps were. Remember, their jumps took an
Yeah.
extra turn in GP, so.
But
yeah. Anyway, I feel like the schedule and stuff isn't that fluid. I think it's probably things are planned.
Yeah, I
pretty
don't
far
think
in
that
advance.
Alum is agile enough to turn on a dime like that.
maybe, yeah, probably not. It's just kind of hilarious that Coral came almost as if like JP was telling its players skip this so that next week you can pull on Hawkeye, and then ever since Hawkeye they got FF7, and then
Well, I mean,
everything's fucking crazy now.
I mean, recently in JP, it's become like there's been quite a strong trend with maybe a couple of outliers that I don't remember, but quite a strong trend that like the FFB original units are like pretty weak compared to
Oh, I didn't know
the
that.
series ones for a while.
Yeah, I guess we can probably talk about the EX2 abilities now,
It's
though,
a thing.
right?
Oh, yeah, those things exist.
We can move on now.
So Gumi basically slipped in without noticing us until after the patch of a few, was it 2 units that got EX plus 2s randomly?
3.
3?
Soul, Lauren, and...
Three.
Who was the other one?
Axstar.
Axstar, right?
Axstar.
Yes. So yeah, they sneaked EX plus 2 upgrades. And at first people thought it was a bug until a few hours later it was confirmed by the news that this was actually all intended, which is makes this all so much weirder. But we can talk about the EX2 abilities of each of these units first. Who do you want to talk about first? Axstar? Let's talk about Axstar, because I like Axstar. Sure. So Axstar, what's he like?
Yeah. His LB now fills at the start of the fight in his base form, and in his shift form he gets some boosted modifiers, basically.
Yeah, and the big thing is also his LB gets upgraded, and he gets a bunch of extra passive damage for that.
It's a 135 times modifier.
So it goes up to. It's actually 155 in the data. It was initially like slightly weaker, but then it was fixed to be its proper mod. But the wiki hasn't updated yet as of recording time.
Wait, that's
So
actually pretty good.
155. Yeah, it's solid if you can spam it. He has like quite good sustained damage.
I
and
guess
stuff.
can you put quite good like in
Has a
context?
135%
I have not
imperial.
looked at calculations for him.
Yeah, I haven't really looked strongly, but I think even with like a sort of moderate frequency, he was sitting around like something like 550 sustained and like
Okay, so like a
900
little
burst
under
or
Arden
something
in terms of
in billions.
sustained, but
But he's a chainer.
but much lower burst.
yeah, and
Yeah.
he's chainer mostly rather than finisher, so could be good. He can give a slightly higher imperil for DV along with his old like.
I assume he basically just sits in his
AoE
brave shift
stuff.
full time now, because he used to go back to base form. I know.
Probably. Yeah, because I think it had slightly higher mods, but yeah, now that his shift stuff has mod
And that
boosts, I
means
think
he's
pretty
fully
much
ice
stayed
locked and also not
Unfortunately-
AoE, unfortunately.
Yeah. His shift unfortunately also did not get 6 times cap despite being dual wield, which is annoying. Because if he got that, he would actually be
that's
very
annoying.
nice. But he's still a bit awkward. Yeah. Welcome to, like, back to early
Yeah.
MV dual wielders.
I guess the question that I have, so I have an EX plus 1 Axstar and then 2 additional copies of Axstar that's just sitting there because I didn't want to use. It's basically break in case of emergency for red orbs. Do you think it's worth using those 2 red orbs to get his EX plus 2, or is it just not worth it still?
I probably.
Because they're not, like, super scarce anymore,
I think it depends on how many
probably
pearls you
would.
have.
I don't know. This shard dungeon's making my pearls reserves going real low. So right now I have like 7 left.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't in that case unless you're planning to use him pretty soon. Like if his STMR were better, maybe, but it's like not that amazing these days.
I mean, it's still a TDW katana, so there's that.
Yeah, but
Yeah, it's
like
all
most
right on
units
dual
only need
wielders,
50% these
but-
days, and you can get that pretty
Yeah.
easily.
Yeah, it's not amazing.
So plus,
Yeah.
you know, a lot of units just want the chronicle weapons with the big dick attack passives.
I do like some of my big dicks. Okay, so we have talked about Axstar. What about Soul? How is good old Soul doing with his EX plus 2?
Soul does very similar things to Axstar, but on the magic side, from what I remember. I will bring up his actual page to double check that though.
So it
'Cause
looks
it's
like
been
on
a while since I've
his
looked
base
at them.
form, he got an AR chain.
Oh, sorry. One other thing I
His
want to
base form
mention with
ability is
Axstar.
trash.
His Shift LB now has 135% Ice Imperil, which is the highest in the game. Soul gets the same thing.
Yeah,
So,
I said that.
I guess
Right.
that alone is actually pretty good if you're doing an ice team, but no, who's doing an ice team in DV? Never mind.
I mean, it's such a small damage upgrade over 130%, and his burst isn't that high, so it might not even be an overall damage gain.
maybe not.
130 is also still like pretty rare for ice, I think, though.
Yeah.
There's not really good access to it,
True.
so you might be upgrading from 120, which is a bit
Well,
more
looking at
significant.
Soul right now, his base form, he got a good old AR chain. He needed that one, right?
Oh, yeah. Non-elemental
Yeah, that's
AR
trash.
chains. Oh,
That's
baby.
trash.
Oh, baby, that's what gets me wet. All right.
And he already has like a better elementless AoE chain for
Yeah,
Arena
I don't
because
know
it's
what they were
3
thinking.
component.
What the hell
So,
were they
yeah,
thinking?
that
with
one's
this?
got-
Well,
garbage.
I can tell you what they were thinking. It's for Dark Visions. It's just getting your chain count up.
But who's bringing Soul as an AR triple chain? I don't know.
People who want his Ice Imperil for magic stages, I don't know.
It's
I
very
mean,
niche.
he's got a big Demon Killer buff, and he's got a big Ice Imperil. Like, he's not useless, maybe.
Again, yeah, he is
Okay.
niche use. But yeah, his shift forms the actual like significant one. Because that's, again, like upgraded LB, some extra passive LB damage, and 500 static magic, which just bumps all of his damage by
Yeah.
a pretty noticeable amount. Again, I don't have like specific numbers. Again, and yeah, his LB also becomes a 150 mod, which is pretty solid, and 135 Ice Imperil, which actually, for once from Alum, hits before the
So I'm
damage.
looking at his
so
kit
we can
right now.
actually
He has
benefit
innate
from it.
150% LB damage, and if I remember correctly, he has 200% TDH. So if you can somehow get mag TDH and LB done, this
Yeah.
isn't that terrible, I think. Because 150 is still a decent amount, and
The
obviously
problem is,
ice.
I don't think he has an LB damage buff, does he?
He himself doesn't, so well, he has a 50% one, but it's absolutely
No.
terrible. You don't want to use that.
Yeah.
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 It's basically no. But hey, everyone who knows has Zidane's STMR, right, guys?
Do we want to talk
Kill
about
me.
the Zidane fiasco?
No.
Kind of want
No.
to, but
No.
did any
No.
of you pull for Zidane? That's the question. I have.
No.
Okay, me neither.
He used
Yeah,
up
I
more than
used,
enough
like,
of
25
my brain
tickets,
power just
didn't
looking
get
at his
anything.
fucking kit and trying to figure out what they were thinking.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, pretty much.
literally.
Fucking monkey.
Well, I guess that leaves us with Lauren today. What's Lauren?
Yeah, her EX2s are now canon.
Well, they released them before, but remember, by accident, but they were
Oh
like,
yeah.
Yeah,
That's true.
as opposed to being unofficial.
Huh. Okay.
So she got like fairly nice things. 500 flat attack, 6 times chain cap, which is like again what all of the NV dual wielders should have gotten, and then full LB gauge, which doesn't matter too much, but is handy for a potential rotation for setting up her max burst.
She
Yeah.
does get LB first turn, but again, I don't know how good that is in the long run.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that this probably puts her in like the 350 to 400 billion damage range.
Yeah, I think she like at like a real like maybe her rotation could be improved or built, but when I just like added the 500 attack and the 6 times cap, she went from like 200 to 375
Yeah.
billion in sustained. So it's like still not
Yeah.
main damage dealer level, but it's enough to be a noticeable
Yeah,
contribution.
not far
when
behind
using her
Bradley,
as, her
which
as
is
your breaker.
fine. So,
Sorry, this is the base form you guys are talking
Yeah.
about still, though, right?
both forms, they have the
Oh,
same
both
thing.
forms. Okay.
Well, it just hurt. Yeah.
Yeah. Did
Yeah,
any of her
just
break
her
things
as a
get better?
whole.
Because I can't see anything. From...
No.
No. Okay.
No, but she's already like one of the best sources of like
Yeah, as long as the
85%
fight isn't
AoE
going
breaks
for
still.
like 20
Like,
turns
yeah, she
or
doesn't do
something,
anything
or you don't
higher.
have to dispel constantly, then she's one of the better breakers out there.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
those are all the units that got upgraded and released this week. What other things happened in the FFB world that's worth talking?
And it's
We
like,
got
did we have
this
content?
wonderful-
No.
What else happened? Chronicle battle? Is there anything good from there? I don't even know what.
There was a
else.
Chronicle battle?
Oh,
I
never
thought-
mind. I was just looking at the wiki page. It's still showing the Final Fantasy 9 one.
No, There was only
Yeah.
VV.
The story event gives an
VV's
aquatic
one.
killer materia. This is
Ooh.
like only the 9th item in the game with aquatic killer,
Hooray!
Wow, so exciting, guys. So exciting.
and it's like the
Hooray!
it's like the 4th
obviously
aquatic
you
killer
pick
item
it
that's
up,
actually
but-
good.
Do you think this is a lull before, like, when they start ramping up for anniversary?
Impressive.
Or is it just the game's not exciting anymore?
Yeah, probably. I mean, I don't think it's really an intentional lull, and the usual content rotation is a bit light at the moment, but things should
Let's
ramp up a bit
let's do one section
soon.
because we just have a time. Let's have each of us have one prediction for anniversary and see if it matches up. Like, see how well we do. And it's just for fun, and we can hold ourselves accountable when anniversary actually happens. So I'm gonna start with you, Muspel, because I like picking on you. What do you think is gonna?
Oh, first of all, I mean, one thing that, like, based on predictions that was actually, like, in data, I think there was a string for, like, Noppy's intro quest, so I think
Who?
he's probably the one for this month.
Oh,
One of the design units.
Oh,
Noppy was,
okay.
like, the Moogle physical
but that's not related to
attacker.
anniversary. I wouldn't imagine it to be. It'll be
Alright.
just this month.
No.
So
I'm
most-
going to make a
it's
very
just this
controversial
month.
prediction, and I'll say that Gumi is going to announce what they're doing for the anniversary, and people are going to be very mad and disappointed about it. And there's going to be threads all over Reddit. And
Shh.
I'm going to bravely die on
It's
this
like,
hill
I don't know,
that's
that
gonna
sounds
happen.
pretty unlikely.
Shocking.
I know it's never happened before, but
It's a
I
stretch.
feel like this year might be different.
Oh man, you're going out on a limb here, Muspel. All right, is that your real prediction that's gonna happen? Or announcement?
In all seriousness, I'm betting that people are going to expect an announcement of like the Secret of Mana collab, and we're not going to get it.
Oh,
And people are going to throw a fit over that.
interesting. So you think we're not gonna get the Secret of Mana collab?
I mean, we've skipped it before. Like, I know that at this point the game has
Trials
actually like
Online.
come out in GL, so it makes more sense now. But I still think they're going to skip it.
But then we're gonna have to skip that whole DV, right?
I mean, we skipped DVs before.
Yeah, I kind of think because it's got the, like, unique vision world type stuff,
Yeah.
and it looked like there was quite a lot of work put into that. So when just seeing it on JP, so I kind of
I
think
kind
we
of
will
agree
get
with
that at the end of this
Dreamhead.
month.
Like, if you look at the amount of work that was put into that DV, holy shit! If they skip that, it's a shame that we won't see it.
I just tend to set my expectations with collabs as low as possible, and then I'm very rarely disappointed.
No, that makes sense. That makes sense. Dream, what is your bold
I
prediction?
mean, that's fair. What can I think of that's funny but also not completely ridiculous? We'll get a
Would it be
third
CG?
version of Alina.
Do you think it'll be CG?
Yes.
Why not? Why not Fravia?
We will get a new CG Alina.
Oh.
Nah.
What about
She's
a
old
dual
news. They don't care
Fravia and
about her
Elena
anymore.
unit?
Alina is their new waifu.
Did JP
tag
get any more
chaining.
tag chainers after Aerith? Was that the last one?
Nah. No, I think, like, they got Jessie on the same banner, who was like a
Okay,
7
because
star.
I feel like
think a
tag
couple
chaining has
of
become
others have
slightly
had
more
tag
rare
chains,
in the last few
maybe.
banners.
Yeah,
They
it's-
just got
it's
one
not
on the
completely
Dragon
dead,
Quest
but it
11
is-
or
it
Dragon
is
Quest
fairly
Monsters
rare, like,
banner.
after the initial flurry.
Oh, okay.
Elena and King Leo.
Elena.
So they are still keeping it.
Alena. ALENA.
Yeah.
It's like, wait a minute.
All right.
I refuse to call him Marquis de Leo.
Alena.
He's King Leo.
He's MDL. So for my bold prediction, I think they will release a new mode, that they've been teasing, on time, right before like anniversary starts. Like, so on the week that anniversary starts, they'll be on time and start that new event just to match the hype.
The
And-
morale battles.
Yes, the
or
morale
whatever
battles.
They're gonna call
And
them.
this,
I don't know.
the reason that this is a bold prediction is that because they're going to be on schedule. So, because they said this is supposed to be in between DV, right? So if it's in between DV, we just had our last one. That means it has to be before the end of this month before we get next DV next month, right?
What do you think they're gonna call the event type? Because morale battles was just something I made up for that one thread because I needed something to call it. I'm assuming that's not going to be the official name. I just named it after the mechanic they were talking
I
about.
think because it's kind of stuck in the community, they might use it because, like, for when they implemented the, like, chaining tags.
Yeah,
on
but
things,
those
they
were like
used
really
the
widespread.
community names
Almost
for
nobody
chain
is talking about
families from
morale
Wiki.
battles at this point. Like they could change the name and nobody would care. Like I don't even care.
Call it Light
That's
Visions for
true.
all I care. Fuck it.
Maybe it'll be called like Neo EX visions.
Oh my god, stop giving them terrible ideas, Muspel. NV. Oh no, we already have NVs, Neo Visions. But okay, maybe I'll just
Well, yeah, that's the thing.
Just to make it even more
it needs
confusing.
to use an
They'll
existing
call it.
acronym.
I'm trying to think of what we could call this that would spell out break. Big.
Or have it, have
Oh,
it
that's the
abbreviate
best.
to BS.
No, it'll just be break bosses, and they won't have break gauges, and they'll be break immune. So everybody will be talking about how to fight bosses with breaks, just to make
God.
things as confusing
just-
as possible.
So just to add to that sort of confusion, so this
Yes, introducing the break sentinels.
we are scheduled to have the collab this coming week, but obviously that's not going to happen in my opinion. But I think Dream mentioned earlier that we're probably going to get the FanFest unit, the fucking physical attacker, was it? Probably this week. Yeah, I mean the data was there.
Yeah, not be. It might not be this
So
week,
that-
but it should be this month at least. But yeah, I don't actually
Yeah.
know what would be next week if it is.
Because if we
neither
don't do that, then we get
Trials
Shield.
or
We get
nothing.
Charlotte. We get CG Charlotte, NV Charlotte, and Xyle, which would be great. Yes, they are.
But they're another story. Aren't they another
No, they're story
story
events. They're
event?
story events. I'm checking it.
Or no, are they mocking?
Oh no, they were mocking. Sorry, they are mocking. You're right.
Oh, okay. So that might happen. Yeah, I could see that being next week, and then like
Yeah, I can see that.
trials and or not
Huh.
be in the remaining two.
Something seems clear. Well, we have definitely dried off all the content that we can do this week. Do you guys have anything to add?
Oh, there is one more thing that should have been near the start that I forgot. I think there was supposed to be
Oh, really?
another 5-star on this banner that we didn't get. Belmira. Yeah, she's
I am
from. She's
so
like
very
some
glad we
random
didn't
from
get
the
to see
story
her.
event, but because she is significant because she has a basic attack upgrade that's an AOE chain. So she was going to be a lot of fun in arena.
Not
with,
just
like,
a
giving
basic
Berserk
attack with an
and dual
AoE
wield
chain,
and
but
Aurora
also she had the
Scarf.
6x chain cap.
Oh, well, that's good.
And she could equip throwing weapons, so she could get 100% accuracy by using
Yeah,
Thorn
that's
1
extra.
Shuriken from that one old event.
Wait, I want this.
Fuck you, Shadow.
Well, only 50 if 50 if you're
I
using
do,
Avenger.
like,
and the
not
other
having her
hand,
TM
for
is a little
Berserk.
sad because it was a permanent draw chance materia, 20% draw chance, 20% dodge. But
Oh yeah.
but I would rather
That I
never
would
ever see
definitely
this
like in
unit
the
in
pool.
GL ever unless they remove that fucking attack passive. Well, maybe they'll skip all of those
don't worry.
too.
There's
Don't
there's
crush
other
my
units
dreams,
later
Dream.
who also do AoE
Dream causing
basic
controversy once again. Who knew?
chance. Damn it! I walked
All right.
right
Well,
into it.
putting aside the controversial dreams, we have now concluded our podcast, and we're gonna ask Barrows to cue the chocobos.